Crit status active. Orbital status standby.
What is up, Guardians? This is Cosmodrome Radio, broadcasting from here all the way to the moon and back from all the crazy stuff going on, and soon we'll be broadcasting all the way to Neptune, and that's going to be a fun time. This is the show all about Destiny 2 and all the fun things going on. What was you about to say?
Oh, it's definitely going to be a fun time on Neptune.
I'm wary, and we'll probably talk about that next episode about like how I feel about like incoming things. But we'll touch on some of what I'm excited about this episode. But like next episode, we'll dive into like some like theories and whatnot. We'll go from there. But this is the show about Destiny 2 and all the great things around it. You can make sure that you follow us on Twitter at Cosmodrome Radio. Make sure you join the Discord. The Discord link is in the show notes for every episode. That way you can join the community. And if you are looking for a clan, we always have our clan that is here for you if you are looking for a home and a family to be a part of the Destiny game. Because like as I've learned a lot recently, there's a lot of folks in the game that just like play solo, and that sucks. So we're gonna go ahead and kick off this brand new episode. But my name is Panda the Paladin. To my left, we actually have a new face. Like one of the most loyal motherfuckers ever to step foot in the clan, and just he's been here a hot minute. So I decided, you know what, with the exodus of Toll, Priz, and Falcon, like because they have chosen to step away from the show, I needed someone to bounce off of. And you know what, I got AlchemyKing with me here this evening. How you doing?
Doing quite well, Panda. As you can hear, I'm a little bit sick at the moment, but hey, that won't stop me from doing the show, man.
How dare you be sick? It's cool. I'm over here sniffling too, so it's like it's just snow sucks, but it's cool. We here, but no, like, how about you give folks a little background on like your Destiny, like beginning and such?
So I started in playing Destiny back in during the Taken King era. I was first at a Warlock main for all of Destiny 1. Once Destiny 2 came out, didn't play my Warlock at all, was a Hunter main all the way up until season started, but now ever since, I've been the clan's Warlock.
Nice. All right, sweet. Okay, so like, you know, he's like the one we look to for a lot of stuff when it comes to like teaching warlocks and whatnot. He's a bit of a smart ass though, but then he'll make the randomest choices in PvE. You're like, are you okay? But it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. But we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and dive into the craziness going on in the Destiny community the past few weeks, because we've been gone for a hot minute, and we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. So from the top, the past few weeks, Bungie has been going nuts, and we'll get into the drama of this week in a moment. But in general, like is specifically from last week onward, things have just been kind of ramping up, especially with new news coming leading up to Lightfall. And the biggest thing that we kind of got last week was the announcement of they're going to be changing the mod system drastically when it comes to the game. And like the biggest thing that really came out of it for a lot of people that were super heartbroken was Warmind cells are just like deprecating and like no longer being a thing, right as Bungie went, hey, all mods are unlocked for everybody, even new light, which it's been kind of funny the past week and a half or so, because like 801 just hasn't had anything to do.
Yeah, like 801 is just, I'm here now until next season. But granted, she can sell the occasional god roll stats.
Yeah, no, like I feel like they need to, like, if they're gonna leave her like this, and then with the announcement that we'll talk about later that she's gonna be selling old shaders that like aren't really accessible anymore, they need to like do something with her. Like, if they're not gonna bring the Black Armory stuff back, they need to do something, because like just having her be the armor shader lady is just kind of weird.
Yeah, it honestly is, because right now all she does is just sell armors and to give us 5 cent weaves per season.
Well, 10 per character.
I thought it was 5.
No, it's 10 per character. But it's cool. Like, I just and like I understood when they first came out with like armor synthesis, they're like Ada has found a new purpose, but in reality, it feels like they've sort of given her a lesser role by just kind of having her do that. Like I don't know, that's just me, but eh. But no, so leading into the mod changes, not only are Warmind cell mods being deprecated and no longer going to be a thing anymore next season, they're sort of like combining charge with light mods and elemental well mods into one system with like armor charges rather than them being separate systems. And they explained it pretty thoroughly in the TWAB, and you can go. We'll include that in the show notes for you. Well, not the TWAB was actually a blog post they did, and in the article, it makes sense the way they're describing it. How like you'll build a certain amount of armor charges for a certain amount of time, and then they'll like just sort of degrade. But I don't know. It feels like they're taking away the uniqueness of these systems just to sort of simplify things. When they developed these systems, they made these systems not just like streamline, when the whole point of an RPG is to have like different systems and different like from different realms of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But like, they're also, I bet what they're trying to do is to like like you said, they're trying to mesh it together, but also to give like different armor pieces like different chances of like how stasis shards isn't really that used unless it's in the stasis build. But I'm thinking with these changes, stasis armor will be more viable for things because of the charges.
Yeah, so like it'll make some things sort of like see viability again, which is kind of cool. And like you were kind of touching on, they're making it so even though elemental wells are going away, they're still gonna have like things like the stasis shards be a thing, and they're giving sort of elemental well-ish things with the rest of the subclasses. Like you already had ionic traces with arc, and you had stasis shards with stasis, but you're gonna have fire sprites with solar and void breaches with void, obviously. So they're trying a little bit of something there. So that's kind of a good thing. But I don't know. It just feels like they're taking away the uniqueness for no reason, and it just feels very odd. I don't really know. So it just feels weird. Do you have any other opinion on that? Because honestly, I just it just feels weird.
In my opinion, I think they're trying to make it more streamlined for the new lights, so they don't get confused as easily, and so build crafting can be more of like a fluid type thing, so the new lights can understand it better and have like better understanding of what goes with what build.
Yes, but like I don't know, and granted, the one thing they did talk about in the article as well is they kind of elaborated how they're adding loadouts to the game, and no longer will you have to use outside API sources like Destiny Item Manager to create loadouts. But at the same time, I think similar to what they finally did with the Seraph Shield mission explaining um how they explained the parts of Deepstone Crypt for like newer players who don't play Deepstone a lot. It would make sense if you had those kind of pop-ups for newer players to understand certain mods. And one thing that a lot of people touched on was the fact that like they're getting rid of Warmind cells the season after a Warmind themed season. So like I don't know. It just like I'm excited and cautiously optimistic for new ways to build craft, but it feels really odd the way they're just like, just throw it all together. Like it just, I don't know. It just
I'm in the
feels
same boat
weird.
as you.
Okay, so like,
But also,
so
like, what I like, we just got a new exotic bow that can generate Warmind cells. Literally, the main thing, if you spawn a Warmind cell with it, and you shoot the Warmind cell, it gives you a bigger tracking ring. How are we gonna supposed to be able to get that huge tracking ring now after Warmind cells have been deleted from the
that's
game?
so true. I didn't even think about that. Well, I don't even have the bow yet. I need to run that dungeon. But like,
Oh yeah, same here.
but like, just in general, that is a good point. That like that whole system is going out the window. You created a brand new Warmind themed bow that interacts with Warmind cells. and now you're just like, just get rid of them. And it just like like it almost feels like they're closing a door on Warmind content, despite putting the Warmind in an exo body that's going to be involved in content like God knows how long. And I even saw from a recent like one of the questions that they talked about with PC Gamer that we're going to talk about in a second. They asked about Siva, and they even said, like, we think the door is closed on Siva, but a lot of people still want Siva content. Now it's going to be the same way here, where people want Warmind content, and now they're not really going to get it other than like Rasputin walking around in an exo body. So it feels really odd the way they're just like throw it all in the trash or combine it into one blender.
Yeah.
So from there, like that was pretty much like the entirety of that blog post from last week talking about the mod system. We would go more in depth. There's a lot to talk about the past 2 weeks. So that's kind of the overview of it, and we will dive more into it as time goes on. But just there's no new systems are coming. They're combining some old systems. They're getting rid of some. So just keep that in mind. So before all the drama happened Tuesday, there was a PC Gamer article that came out where they got an exclusive chance to interview Bungie. And they talked about like sort of follow up to the new mod article. And one thing that came up in the discussion was resilience. And boy howdy.
Go off.
I mean, like I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute. I even hinted at it on TikTok that like this topic has been infuriating, and it even like leads into a topic about the barricade nerf that happened on Tuesday. But in general, with resilience, this is the nerf that occurred. Well, the nerf that's coming in Lightfall is very frustrating because they announced in the PC Gamer article that they are nerfing the 40% damage reduction that resilience gives you if you're at tier 10 down to 30%. And the reason why this is frustrating for a lot of people in the community is because for a while now, ever since the controversy with Divinity happened, one well-known streamer slash day one raider of Clan Elysium that we've talked about previously, Salta Greppo, 3-time world's first winner, Salta Greppo, came out and has been coming out for months and months and months now, weeks and weeks ever since the div nerf, and been saying in the background of tweets saying we need to nerf we need to nerf the resilience buff that happened. And it's been this ongoing thing. What's been the main issue and what a lot of casual players have been saying is that it comes off as if he is saying, I want harder content, and it doesn't feel like I'm getting harder content because if I build into the 100 resilience, I just get perfect damage reduction. I can survive every piece of content in the game. However, I understand like that's not really what he's saying. He's saying that like from his perspective, the mechanic is overpowered. You can tank too much, and it's not balanced for the game overall. I vehemently disagree. And originally, I was going to come at this like just full on fire. You agree? Cool. We can keep on going. Originally, I was going to be like just full on fire with this and be like, yo, I am just so like mad. I don't understand why he's coming at this from way. And the fact that he's been constantly saying this, now Bungie's like, okay, cool, we'll nerf it. And granted, I'll stick to my guns. What I said about Salta Greppo had nothing to do with this. They might have noticed it and looked into it, but Salta Greppo directly had nothing to do with this. Though, from the fact that he said something about Div, and now the resilience nerf is happening after he said something multiple times, Strike 2 is not nothing to knock at. So while it's a bad look overall for Bungie to appear as if they're listening to streamers, granted, he even said it's not enough, which that's even worse to say. There's a deeper seated issue here. And the biggest issue that I see, and after watching Fallout Play's video on what was going on, I have kind of reached a conclusion with everything. Because in Fallout's video, he kind of like explained a better way to look at it. Because for a lot of people, having to run 100 resilience means it's mandatory. Like if you want to survive this content, you have to run 100 resilience. Full stop, nothing you can do. And that's frustrating for a lot of people because they want to build into mobility if you're a hunter. They want to build in a recovery if you're a warlock. You want to build into other stats and whatnot for different kinds of builds. However, the point of a defense stat in an RPG is to provide defense, provide damage reduction. Because before they added the damage reduction to it, it was only providing you bonus health. And that's kind of cool, but there needs to be more done. And one thing that it's Cowboy, friend of the show, posted on TikTok was a whole like layout of why not, instead of nerfing resilience and making it so it only gives you 30% reduction, make it so each tier gives you like 10, 20, 30, 40 damage reduction. That way you can choose how much of a damage reduction you have, but also make mobility matter. Make it how mobility gives you like better movement, better jump overall, and have different things that contribute to it. Make your recovery be even more snappy, but also give you faster ability regen if you build into it. Make your intellect matter more. Make your discipline matter more. Make your strength matter more. Rather than we need to stop this like nerfing down, and why not buff upward to make things equal? Because when you look at it overall, that's what Bungie's been kind of doing for a while now. When it comes to things like Loreley, there's been the fears of nerfing Heart of Inmost Light soon. There's been this thing of just nerfing down rather than buffing other exotics that are seeing no play whatsoever up. Because if you nerf Heart of Inmost Light, then it's just a knockoff Hallowfire Heart, and no one's going to use Heart of Inmost Light or Hallowfire Heart. If you nerf Loreley into the ground, which they've done, you barely see it be used, and it's just in the trash with Kefri's Horn and the big ass football player gauntlets for fusion grenades, and like everything else, it's just in the garbage, and no one wants to use it. So why are we and granted, there's the fear of power creep, but there should be the ability to recognize this isn't really a problem. Let's just tweak it and make it more balanced with the rest of the stats. And here's the thing. You should be able to build craft with it. There should be a balance. There should be something that goes on with it. And if you're playing hard as hell content like Grandmasters, like Master Raids, like Master Dungeons, you should have to build into your defense stat. I've been saying this off and on for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alchemy.
Honestly, because hell, when we're running GMs, I always run 100 resilience. 40% damage reduction doesn't mean anything to that high level content, because hell, I remember when we were running inside Terminus and I got shredded by just a fucking legionary, and I was running 100 resilience, and I got like fucking 4-shot by him. But also, like with that, with resilience changes, it's almost like what they did with Protective Light and Tenacity, because with Protective Light, they wanted to see the usage go down. They nerfed it to 30% and buffed Tenacity up to 30%. So they're pretty much, they don't care about what they like. They're just trying to find the easiest way out, is what I'm thinking right now.
Well, you just brought up a good point that with Tenacity and Protective Light, that's a perfect way to talk about the issue of nerfing rather than raising up. You saw Protective Light giving you a 50% damage reduction on activation, and Tenacity giving you a 10%. What they did was they decreased Protective Light down to 10% and buffed Tenacity to 30%. Hey, here's an idea, y'all. Why not make both of them 30 and make it so that there's a reason to use Elemental Well mods as well as Charge with Light mods? Because you saw this steep decline unless you were running a hardcore grenade build with like Starfire Protocol, or you were a Warlock using stasis nades for like turrets. You saw no one using like Charge with Light firepower or anything like that, or unless you're doing storm grenades, which that's a whole other discussion. Unless you saw those 3 builds whatsoever, you never saw anyone using Charge with Light anymore. You saw people like leaning hard into Elemental Well builds, and ironically enough, Bungie kind of forced it. They're like, we want you to run Elemental Well builds. We are going to nerf everything into the ground, whether it be Warmind Cell mods or Charge with Light. We are going to nerf them into the ground, despite literally with Season of the Chosen, we gave you Taking Charge, which made Charge with Light easier to activate. Then we're going to nerf how you generate orbs. Then it's like, oh, now we're going to force you to run Elemental Wells. Now we're going to get rid of Elemental Wells and make getting orbs be important. So you're going to have to run Siphon mods despite us limiting how orbs were generated in the first place. So it feels really dumb when in reality you could have left orb generation the way it was. You could have made it so Charge with Light mods and Elemental Well mods were equal. That way, going into Lightfall, you see this balance, and there's ways to build craft into both that aren't broken. Now, if I'm talking out of my ass and they randomly just buff Protective Light back to 30 or to 30, I'll be cracking the hell up. But like in general, it feels like Bungie has this problem where they nerf into the ground and don't look for a balance. Like because that's the issue. And here's my thing when it comes to Fallout's argument of mandatory and Salt and Greppo just saying, oh, this is busted. Here's the thing that no one really wants to talk about. And it's been mentioned partially when it comes to the fact of like, oh, you just want harder content. If you just want to, like, if you want harder content, just don't do the thing. Well, it's there. They're going to do it. But also, you do realize, unless you are just the skilled, the best of the best, Sir Men in Black up in this place, you still can be one shot at 100 resilience in most GMs. It's not debatable. It doesn't matter how good your build is, doesn't matter what mod you're running, doesn't matter what's going on, you still can be one shot at 100 resilience in every Grandmaster and Master Raid and dungeon in the game. Like, you're running Lightblade last season, me running 100 resilience, 100 recovery, 100 intellect, running around dropping bubbles on people. Or at one point I was running Banner Shield with the same builds, same stats. I would see the freaking light-bearing hives frisbee come around the corner, done. It was over. I was automatically dead, and there was nothing you could do about it. Alchemy was there. He was running them with me, and he can speak to that. Like, you were just dead on sight, or if a boomer anti-barrier keeps like hitting you over and over and over again, you are going to die, and there is nothing you can do about it. Or the Screeb freaking haul, or the final boss fight with Lightblade. Or if you're running Corrupted and you randomly get teleported in that big hall and just get one shot by an ogre, you're done. There's nothing you can do about it. Or if you just keep taking damage upon damage, your 100 resilience doesn't mean anything. Doesn't matter how fast you dodge, doesn't matter how fast you put up your barricade or your rift. You can die in wells in GM content, so that well argument can get out of here as well. And it doesn't seem as hard for you because you are a top tier player. You are a 3-time world's first raider. You are going to see less difficulty with the content. And I understand you want to see balance, but just saying hard nerf is not the way to do it. Because let's be 100% honest, if Bungie would have just rolled out that the nerf and just said, hey, resilience, stay at 40, but you'll see like not at 90 resil, you get 30 damage reduction. At 80 resil, you get 20 damage reduction. People would have been like, cool. And then you would have seen like recovery get a bonus thing at higher levels, or mobility at a higher level. And also, that also kind of lends into the barricade issue of this past week. People wouldn't even be mad at resilience the way it is if it wasn't tied to Titan barricade ability regen. If there was a whole other class ability regen stat, that would be even less reason to be mad about 100 Brazil. But people don't want to see that. So I've ranted enough about this for a hot minute, but it really bugs me when we're over here like nerf resilience, it's too busted, when you're not thinking of the bigger picture. We're seeing like because the 10%, it isn't that bad. But you should see, and Bungie kind of said there will be bonus like incentives to run lower because it'll be like a tier, like a curve. But they're not. They didn't say what the curve was. It could be like 5 ticks. It could be 10 ticks, like per tier or something like that. They're not saying that. They probably will never say what the heck it is. So Bungie needs to actually say 80 Resil gives you this, 70 Resil gives you this. And that would incentivize people to start running 100 mobility, but like 80 Resil or whatever the heck else. That would be balance. But instead, we're just like, nerf it. It's too powerful. It's too powerful. It's like, why? Just why? And even with this, with the font of the next thing that's kind of been touched on. Matter of fact, let me shut up for a second. Alchemy, do you want to speak on this?
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I think what Bungie is afraid of, like you said, is that power creep, because they've always had this power creep subtlety in the back of their mind, and that's probably why they don't want to buff stuff up with it. They want to bring it down, so if there is like a power creep issue, like they could say, "Hey, we're doing this now." But like it's just that power creep that Bungie's afraid of. And honestly, in my opinion, if there's a power creep issue, let it happen for like a little bit. But also like they didn't have to nerf resilience this hard, because one of the things, like you said, you can get one shot in GMs. Like that should give a more incentive of saying, hey, run these mods so you can get a higher defense stat. Like, well, tenacity, you can make that 40% into a 70% if you run it.
Yeah. So like that would make so much more sense, and it would be more viable. But we're not even looking at that. So it just got under my skin a little bit. The other thing that they talked about in the article was the font of might nerf. And granted, I'm not someone that uses font of might a lot because I would rather use a combination of well of tenacity and well of life for survivability in raids and stuff like that. But people for DPS checks, you saw a rise of people using font of might because they would like use melee well maker or something similar to generate an elemental well, and then they would get a damage bonus to that element for a certain amount of time. So you would see like void elementals wells being generated to then use with the void linear fusion rifle and Taipan everyone's been using. Or you saw stasis being generated to run with Reed's Regret, and it would be this bonus of damage that would be very beneficial. Now they're like, hey, not only are we going to nerf it overall from like, I think it's like a 30% bonus to like 20 something, but also if you want to get to that 20, you got to run multiple copies of that mod. That feels like a hard nerf, but apparently there's things they're going to be doing to give you more ways to build for damage overall. So that's exciting. But overall, I feel like Alchemy's saying, there's a fear to dive into power. Like there's a fear of power creep. And overall, it really feels like with this situation that Bungie had missed the mark. And I think like top tier players are missing the point overall that there isn't like running 100 resilience isn't a thing. Like this is supposed to de-incentivize you from build crafting. It's supposed to incentivize you for build crafting, because what sense does it make for you to be like unless there was like a way for you to run less resilience but get higher damage? What sense does it make to run less health and have less damage reduction in hard content? None. Like legitimately, like there's no reason. Now, if they said like, yo, if you run like 100 strength, you get like 10% more damage to all weapons or melee or something like that, that would be a definite reason to run less resilience and push into strength or something similar.
Like intellect, if you hit 100 intellect, your supers do more damage.
Exactly.
Like, because right now in Destiny 2, there is no such thing as a glass cannon build. And in most RPGs I play, there is at least one way to run a glass cannon.
Right. Like and one thing that actually was said by Salter Grapple was Destiny is an FPS first, but that statement couldn't be farther from the truth. Destiny is like, it has been pushed by Bungie from day one, whether it was Activision saying it or Bungie saying it post Activision separation, that this game is supposed to be an MMORPG light or something similar to an MMORPG. Keywords RP or key letters RPG. It's a role-playing game. So you're supposed to see space fantasy and different things of that regard. And you're going to see stat distributions that should reflect that. And it makes perfect sense because in every other RPG, if I build into defense, I'm going to get more defense. Like, it really feels like because there's such a crossover of communities with things like Call of Duty and things of that nature, people don't consider that. They don't understand that, these things are supposed to be built in this certain way. That doesn't mean Bungie has hit the mark with it and we need to work on it. It means that was a first step possibly, and we could be looking at more in the future, but you see it as, hey, I'm taking so much damage, I'm just busted. That's not what that means. That means you built good into your build and you're having to suffer in other ways because you can't run those other stats. You built into defense, okay, cool. Could like compensate with different mods, like run melee kickstart or run grenade kickstart to make up for your grenade being lower stat. There's things to make up for it. So it just, once Bungie is able to work out the kinks and maybe add things to different stats, it'll make a little bit more sense, I think. I've done a lot. That's my whole rant on that whole situation with Resilience, because it was so I had to like originally I was gonna hop on TikTok and just yell, and then I was like, you know what, I gotta just take a minute and just think about what the heck I'm gonna say, and then lo and behold, Cowboy just threw out this whole scenario of what these different stats could do, and I was like, someone understands what I'm thinking, and it makes perfect sense. So from there, we got to Tuesday, and oh my Lord. But we had just accepted there was going to be a patch, there was going to be a hot fix that was going to introduce some changes, like they were going to nerf barricades because everyone of them threw a fit about barricades for a half a season, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But in general, the game just kind of crashed. It just burnt to the ground for a little bit. Because when people loaded in after downloading the hotfix, they found out that their seals were missing, their triumphs were missing, the game was having horrible latency issues, bosses were recovering health, there was all this stuff going on. And then Bungie was like, yo, we're taking the whole game offline. And then we heard nothing for we didn't hear, we heard things. They were they kept saying, hey, we're working on it. But we didn't get back into the game till the next day. And it was to the point that Bungie had to use a last resort, which was rolling back the the save clock on everybody to prior to the hot fix going out to get everybody's stuff back. And that's last resort type stuff, going to a a prior save data of that high regard is a last resort. And thankfully, up until the day we were kind of what's going on. Bungie even said on Wednesday that hey, this was something we were working on. We don't really have a whole lot of info for you, but hey, it's fixed. But then today Bungie came out on the TWAB and was like, hey, let's explain what kind of happened, because things happened. And what they ended up basically saying was, hey, they they were going the issue overall was if I can find it here in the 12 real quick, they accidentally reran an older save state for everybody. They basically put everybody's account back to before Beyond Light. Unintentionally, they randomly just put everybody back to before Beyond Light. And when I read that in the TWAB, I was like, yo, what? That's 2 years worth of data right there.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And so basically what they had to do, they had to pull the dead man switch, take everybody offline, and they had to recopy old data to get everything back the way it was. and they identify the problem and just put everyone back to the old save state. And like it was like right before the hotfix went out. And what's funny is everyone was kind of like lambasting Bungie, like different creators put out videos like, this is the end, the game's being held together by tape. And granted, that's a concern. That's a viable concern. People were like, yo, the game is kind of on pins and needles right before a new expansion. What happens if we all download Lightfall and the whole game blows up and like years of content is just gone? And what a lot of people are getting frustrated by is like the hardcore Destiny defenders that are like, yo, Bungie can do no wrong, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's an extreme. But what I will say is, while we can criticize Bungie, we can go, hey, we're really concerned. What a lot of people like those hardcore Bungie defenders are kind of doing is going, hey, take the time you need to fix it, and supporting the devs, is because look what happened like not even a year ago, where when they said we're not bringing back Twilight Garrison, y'all, like, everyone lost their shit and like we're threatening devs' lives and stuff. Like, that's probably where a lot of the like hardcore defenders came out at. And you've seen a rise of like people trying to say, hey, thank you for all your hard work and stuff like that, because there is things going on in the community right now. There's people over at Ubisoft who are like on strike right now because of the issues at Ubisoft with different development games like that. There's like just the lack of respect for devs from their communities and whatnot. So like, so you got mistreatment from higher ups in certain studios, but then you have this mistreatment and attacks from like the lesser, like from the communities. So that's probably where you get those like white knights that think nothing can go wrong. We need to just defend and defend and defend. But at the same time, there needs to be room for actual criticism. So this entire situation that happened was very concerning. It definitely like shows that the game's kind of in an interesting place right now. Like a lot of error codes. There was one point earlier, even today, where I did a Scarlet Keep, and I was trying to get my Legend of Acreus catalyst because I hadn't done it yet, and come to find, like, I literally finished the mission, nothing happened. I got like a little bit of Nightfall loot, went to orbit, went to the tower, and then the Legend of Acreus catalyst popped up on my screen as I obtained it. And I was like, what?
Latency.
Like, that's some lateness, son. So like, I very much am in the camp of we need to give respectful but constructive criticism, but not attack the devs, dang Vlad. Yeah. So there's these two extremes on both sides of like attack or defend. We need to meet in the middle and have a peaceful conversation.
Yeah, we need a peace treaty.
It just, I don't know. It just like that entire situation just had me like, yo, what? So, but from there, like once that entire situation probably developed and then different nerfs, like the different nerfs and buffs came out, DMT got slaughtered on mouse and keyboard, and I find it hilarious. But DMT is like Dead Man's Tale is going down in history as like one of the most buffed and nerfed weapons of all time, because like Bungie can't figure out a good like medium common ground with that gun. It's either buff it high or buff it. That's a perfect example of like Bungie doing extremes rather than finding a comfortable medium. And it just, that gun came back out swinging real hard this season is all I can say. Top of the trials list multiple times. So it just, like from there, the other big like nerf that happened that I've kind of already hinted about was barricades. So let's rewind the clock to first Trials of Osiris week of this season. Similar to what happened with Lord of Wolves a couple seasons ago, we saw just a random uptick of, hey, we're on a long-range map. Lose Midtown. We're on a long-range map. Scout rifles and pulse rifles have been buffed extremely to the point that they're like able to win duels with hand cannons now. Let's just sit behind barricades with Titan's ramparts an exotic that has not been buffed, has not been nerfed, has not had anything done to it, and just shoot people. Granted, Titan's Ramparts already gives you less health to your shield already. I believe base Barricade has 400 health, and Titan's Ramparts has 200 health. You already have that going. Most fusion rifles can one shot either a regular barricade or a Titan barricade. Anti-barrier mods in general can do tons of damage to barricades. Grenades can like fusion grenades, solar grenades, vortex grenades can do tons of damage to barricades. The Hake breach armaments that Bungie literally rolled out this season with a rework where they said, hey, Hake breach armaments can do more damage to bubbles, wells, and barricades. You just saw this random uptick from that weekend of trials onward where you saw tons of people using barricades with Titan's Ramparts to win trials. And you just saw this uproar of people saying, nerf barricades, nerf barricades, nerf barricades. And I'm over here like, yo, what? What's going on? Like, nothing's changed about barricades at all. They've been the same for years now. Ever since they first came out, they've been like, other than they lowered the towering barricade to the floor, nothing's changed. And then I think they buffed the amount of damage you take when you run through them like an idiot. Nothing's changed about them.
Second that.
Speak on it.
Yeah. I remember that one Trials game where a fusion rifle fucking destroyed my barricade and me at the same time in the same shot. Like, why do they need a nerf? Because that's equivalent to about 500 to 600 health. Because I remember it was a void barricade.
Right.
That's about like 600 health. That fusion rifle just destroyed.
And not only that, you get an overshield from void barricades, and your timer is already longer when you run void because of the overshield that the barricade gives you. So people just kept complaining and complaining and complaining about barricades for so long this past few weeks, along with Titan's Ramparts, to where with this new patch, Bungie has effectively made it so if you have a Titan's Rampart barricade, that shit dies immediately. Like, it doesn't matter what comes to it. Like, if only a little bit of gunfire hits it, it's gone. If a fusion rifle hits it, not even all the pellets have to hit it, it's gone. Shotgun, gone. Sniper, gone. Like, everything hits this thing, it's out of there. Regular barricades take so much more damage. And if you run a void barricade, your barricade takes literally almost like between 30 and like seconds and a minute to come back. Even at tier 10, it takes about 30 seconds or about 35 seconds with like even with utility 2 utility kickstart mods on. And I'm sitting here like, bro. And I even tested it. I went into Rumble to get my rose for the week. And if you have tier 10 with 2 utility kickstart mods on, you can get your barricade about like maybe once per round of Crucible. Like if you're running like survival or something like that, or like elimination, you can get your barricade. You can get your barricade like once per round, but that's it. Like that's literally it. There's like if someone runs lower than tier 10, good luck. And it's like people are like, we gotta get rid of ability spam. Ability spam is such a big problem. Not that much of a problem. Like there was even some people who were saying there's not even a point of running Void Titan anymore. There's not a point of running Titans, period, to some people now, because the whole point of a barricade is supposed to slow down the gameplay, to impede damage from hitting you. That way you can recover, disengage, and go back into a fight. And now it's like, what's the point? Like legitimately, I don't know.
There's no point because most likely we're gonna see a decline in Titans and Crucible. And we're most likely going to see an uptake in either Warlocks or Hunters. Because that barricade is hitting the Titans hard.
Well, and what's crazy about it is Hunters are already the most dominant class in PvP, which like to the point that it almost like is, I believe it's more than Titans and Warlocks combined. And then the problem with that is people. A lot of the problem. The reason why that is because there's so many people coming and thinking over things from like Call of Duty and different FPSs because hunters are the easiest to pick up. They're still like they jump similar to Call of Duty. They jump similar to Fortnite. They jump with those similar formats. There's less of a space fantasy element to them. Like, yeah, you can go invis, but like other than that, there's not really a whole much different from just playing a regular FPS. Titans, you have increased strength, you have a barricade, you have you have like a higher jump. That's like literally you hovering in the air. Warlock, same thing. You can heal. Your jump is different. There's different mechanics to you. You have push and pull elements to you, and people see that as not willing to really mess with and not willing to even engage with. And because they come from that Call of Duty FPS background, they have a run and gun mindset. They have a run and gun, get there, get the kill, don't think, no consequences mindset. But the barricade and the rift were designed to change the combat element, to make it so you had to think about your choices. You have no idea how many times I will win engagements by dumb people, whether it be hunters, warlocks, titans, whoever, dumb people rushing through my barricade. I just punch them and they're dead because the whole point of a barricade is supposed to be a defensive layer to slow down gameplay. And people don't like that. People see it as a threat because it defeats the purpose of their FPS experience. And when there's enough to the point that I can run multiple barricades per round, whether it's just 2 or if a whole team of Titans run barricades to the point they can put 3 barricades up and not have to worry about getting hit, people see that as a threat. Not, oh, let me throw a grenade and kill them. Let me throw a wither horde and kill them. Let me fusion rifle or do enough damage to it. That way it dies and then engage with the opponent again. Because I can't run in there and just get a kill. I have to think. They see it as a an impediment to them having to think. And it's a problem to them. And it's frustrating.
Well, right now I have last week's trials report pulled up. The class usage was 39% of it was Titans and 39% of it was Hunters. And the most used subclasses for Hunter was Solar. Right behind that was Void. And for Titans, it was Arc, then Void.
Well, that's Arc was because of the storm nade usage, but the storm nades got nerfed into the ground, which I find hilarious. Yeah. So it just,
Warlocks are at the lowest right now.
Well, that's because Warlocks really don't have any good PvP stuff overall besides Stasis, and Stasis is in last place. Overall, Warlocks, like Kid, has been diminished to where their rifts are the longest cooldown overall. Despite them being the healer class, their shit should be at least mid-tier between Titans and Hunters. And thankfully, I will say Bungie did nerf Hunter's dodge, but you're still gonna see if someone runs a Hunter mobility and runs utility kickstart, they're probably gonna get their dodges back constantly compared to someone being able to throw up a barricade. And Hunters will swear up and down, oh, we hate barricades, but they'll be real quick to dodge invis and go run away, or they'll dodge invis and run up in your face. And I say this as someone who's played all 3 classes and does all 3 classes every season because I have to like grind for loot and things like that and get the high levels for GMs. So I understand how each class works despite me being a Titan main. So that's what a lot of people don't even do is play other classes and try to get their perspective. And now it's to the point where resilience has been nerfed into the ground. And I even saw when I ran a GM today. I ran Inside Terminus to help someone get their Conqueror seal, and there was a stark difference from when me and Alchemy ran it last week, and me running it this week, where I was able to drop a barricade, heal up between hits, pull out and re-engage, and then like in a few more seconds, like I would get another barricade. Once my barricade dropped, I have another barricade. I can't do that now. I have to legit actually look for physical cover in the arena of Inside Terminus to survive. And even then, the enemies are rushing me like crazy. So
I guess you got 5 or 6 gladiators rushing in at you, and they can one-shot
Mhm.
you.
At least with the barricade, if they rush through it, they would lose health and they'd be confused for a short time. I can't do that now. So it feels very frustrating when people cried out for this nerf without understanding the fundamentals of what the barricade did. And there's even some Titan mains who are like, oh, this has been coming for a long time. It needed to happen. No, it didn't. No, it did not. Like, if it needed to happen, there needed to be a system where it was less than this. Like 30
Yeah.
seconds for a cooldown, bro. Like, that's a lot, especially in PvP or even in PvE where your time matters in high end PvE. That's a problem. What's the like? Now we're even de-incentivizing people from build crafting by saying, hey, it doesn't matter if you build into tier 10 resilience. Your barricade ain't showing up on time. And it's like, well, crap, I guess I'll just die. And it just, and some people are like, oh, we have to be more methodical and think. Haven't we been telling y'all to think when it comes to barricades in the first place? Like, what?
Yeah.
It just, ugh, I'm frustrated. So
Yeah, I can tell.
that's my little rant about the resilience. And I wasn't even on the agenda. I threw that in there after the fact. But let's get into some good stuff because yesterday's article plus today's article, there was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there was some juicy stuff in there.
Yes, because first of all, if we look at yesterday's blog post that Bungie put out, they straight up said, "Hey, yo, so like, you know how we mentioned legacy focusing coming? Here's an explanation of how that works." And they straight up said, "Hey, yo, so like, like all these Nightfall trials, Gambit guns that like haven't that we've been rotating out, you can like almost craft all of them." But and be able to like get them now, but you're gonna pay a lot of freaking legendary shards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's a lot.
but that's also the cost of saying, hey, you can't get this anymore, but now you can, so we're gonna bring it back at a extended price.
Right. And one thing like a lot of people were saying was this is a good way for Bungie to sort of combat the FOMO. So what are we talking about? So like one example of the Nightfall legacy focusing is if you don't have a certain Nightfall weapon a lot, like perfect example, if you're a new light that came in post last season and like during last season and wasn't able to get a hothead rocket launcher.
Or a
And
dumbass that deleted both of his.
like this motherfucker over there. You will like say it, or like specifically in regards to the fact, like if you're a new light who never got it, you have to pay upwards of 700. I believe it was 700, right? Let me double check that. Nightfall up and focusing. Due to the focusing cost. Where is it at? Because they said a specific. Okay, cool. If you haven't gotten it before, it's going to be 50 legendary oh, no, actually for this one, for Nightfall specifically, it doesn't matter. I think specifically they said for trials though, it was actually like you're gonna have to pay like 7 7 engram. Actually, no, here we go. If a weapon has not been focused before, 7 Vanguard engrams, 100 legendary shards, 10,000 glimmer. But if you haven't focused one of the Nightfall weapons before, it's only 3 engram. Well, like if you have gotten it before. So if you have not acquired it before, 100 legendary shards, 7 engrams, 10,000 glimmer. But if you have acquired it before, say if you ran a GM or a Nightfall previously, got the hothead, you only have to pay 3 Vanguard engrams, 25 legendary shards, but 25,000 glimmer. So if you're a new light, y'all gonna have to cough up a lot, which that kind of sucks. And I think Bungie might roll that back at some point. That's really steep. Like you're like, especially because they're like, yo, 7 engrams. You only like you and the thing only goes up to rank 17. That means you're gonna have to do so many night like say if you want multiple rolls of a gun, like at the very least, you have to pay 7 to unlock it, and then pay 3. So in one rank setting, you have to get 7 and then get 9 more engrams. You get that's 4 rolls. That's 4 rolls total for rank 16. Then get another reset. Excuse me. You get another reset and then have to keep rolling ranks of 3 to get more rolls. So, but then what if you don't have like say if you don't have malicious birthright uncrafted, you have to pay 7 more and then do 3, 3, 3, 3. So you could be doing you have to do so many nightfalls as a new light that you're resetting Zavala's rank so many times. Now, granted, there will be times when they say, "Hey, double Vanguard points and stuff like that." You'll see people just going ham, but you're like that's gonna be like legitimately people just having to sit there and redo ranks so many times that you're sitting upwards of like 30 engrams for Zavala. Now, and with Crucible, it's really easy to reset Shaxx like about 10 times a season because of trials. Because not only do you get Crucible rank, you get Trials rank. So you're able to then farm Saint's rank system and Shaxx's rank system. So you get upwards of like 10 resets per season if you play Trials. But with a Zavala, I'm wondering if there's going to be a differential of, well, the kind already is a differential. You get more Vanguard points per Nightfall versus the per strike. But I wonder if they're going to have to increase that, because if you're going to charge people 7 engrams and 3 engrams per roll, that's going to be steep. I don't know how you would feel about that, Alchemy, because that looked pretty steep to me.
Honestly, I think it's justified for 7 engrams because
Really, speak on it.
They are getting content. They are getting a weapon that they cannot get adept. But
no, you can focus the adept weapons. Like it's only with trials you can't focus. Like you can't do it. But with GMs, you can focus like one adept weapon per week.
I'm reading that now. Okay.
So you can get the normal, like, unless it's like Hothead. I believe they said Hothead. Where was it? Plug 1, Hothead Azumi, the Comedian, Duty Bound, DFA, Horrors Lease, and Silicon Aroma won't be able to ever to be in the adept pool per week. Only like the Swarm, Buzzard, and things of that nature that are in the current loot pool for GMs will be able to be gained as adepts. So Hothead can't roll as an adept, but you have to pay 7 engrams to unlock it. I think it's kind of steep.
Honestly, I take back what I said, but I think they should keep it kind of high, like maybe 5 engrams, maybe 4.
I think it should be, if you've already unlocked it, pay 1, and then but then have to pay like however many, like a large amount of legendary shards and a large amount of but like a glimmer. But then if you haven't unlocked it, 3 sounds reasonable, because we already deal with Iron Banner and Gambit, which granted those just got rolled back to where they're lesser, but those are only 1 engram. I think if you haven't unlocked the gun, it should be 3, and then if you have unlocked it, pay the 1, because like if the cost is the legendary shards and the glimmer, that makes perfect sense. But if you're charging people tons of engrams, that means they're gonna have to reset Zavala a ton.
But also, it would give people more incentive to run more strikes, because what I've seen is it usually takes me like a good 5 minutes to queue up a strike.
That's fair. Yeah, no, like recently strikes and nightfalls, like solo queuing has been kind of like lackluster, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Because they're trying to bring more people into strikes and get more incentive of people doing the strike content. Because people oh, it's easy. But now they have an incentive to do that content now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I didn't think about it like that. So like it definitely could increase the usage, but like I don't know. I think like you said, if anything, I think I'll like 5 because that 7 is steep. That legit means like like half the damn rank system. Well, 40% of the rank system already, unless they're going to increase the rank system the way it's like 30 rather than 20. That would make or like 17, like or go from 17 to 20 or something higher. It would make a lot more sense to me at least. But overall, I'm excited for like the legacy focusing because you're seeing guns come back that haven't been here in a while. They even said with Iron Banner, you're getting things like Peace Bond to come back, Archon's
My
Thunder.
baby peace spawn.
I'm gonna say included Finality, the telescope sniper that I want to get a better roll of because I need to get a better mag and a barrel. Reese Walker is coming back for those who never got Reese Walker. Like they're bringing back old Iron Banner armor sets. They're bringing back old Strike and Crucible and Gambit armor sets. Trials of Osiris coming out swinging, giving you
Astral's
the
back, baby.
giving you
Astral's
shot.
back.
They're not only giving us the ability to focus for the exile armor back, but like the original like D2 like later on D1 armor set. That was the first like trials armor set for D2 that like so many people have been asking to bring back. You can focus that now, but they're like Shira's Wrath, Reeve's Regret, Aisha's Embrace, and Burden of Guilt and Forgiveness that are leaving at the end of the season will be able to be focused. But then,
I said,
these motherfuckers, they said, "Hey yo, so like we know we just rolled out with a slug shotgun this season, but." We're gonna bring back something a little hot. And they said, oh, yo, so like, not only are we giving you a new SMG called the Immortal into the mix, we're going to bring out Astral Horizon back. And I was like, oh my God. Because as somebody who used to just imagine just to get destroyed by Fellwinters and Horizon, it sucks. Because I came back during Season of Arrivals. I never got to get Fellwinters during the Fellwinter mission. I had to wait until it was able to get it from the kiosk. And even then, like it already got the big nerf where quick draw was taken off of it and replaced with surplus. Now, and then by then, Astral Horizon had left the loot pool entirely when Beyond Light came out. So now they're like, "Hey, yo, we gonna bring back your boy," and I'm like, "This is great. This is great. I can smell it. I can smell it finally." But and Fallout plays brought this concern too. If the perk pool is ass like you did Mindbenders, I'ma be pissed. Oh, like it'll.
so many people are gonna be pissed if it's either they're not bringing new perks into its perk pool, or if they're like what they did with Mindbenders, completely fucking gut the thing and make it
Like they
unusable.
took everything from it. Now, granted, I will give them the benefit. Like, and I've even kind of like rolled back on this a little bit. I will give them the benefit of the doubt with Mindbenders because Mindbenders was supposed to be a PVE shotgun that you got from a PVE activity to even now where it has like Vanguard, the Vanguard origin trait as part of it. However, my guy, this is Astral Horizon. This is a Trials of Osiris weapon.
PvP gun.
If you don't even like, if you can leave surplus on there. You can, as long as I have opening shot. Hell, you could even throw threat detector on that thing and give me threat detector opening shot. And I will be so happy. So like, just freshen it up a little bit. Give us some new hotness, and we gonna be happy. But if you gut my boy, I'm gonna be so upset. But and like, it's so nice because they literally said, "Hey yo, for Iron Banner, you're getting Jorum's Claw back," and I was like, "Oh," and then they're like, "Hey yo, so we're gonna give you the Exile set and Astral," and I was like, "Oh." So this is just Alchemy. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty hyped for this because I played during Season of the Hun when it was available, like, but I was in between clans and like nobody was playing at that time, so like I never got the chance to even get Astral Horizon or any of the armor pieces. So I'm quite excited for this because I'll be able to finally get all that stuff that I missed out because like no one would want to help me.
Yeah. So like this will definitely be really good sometime. So from here, like, and there was one thing that was mentioned in the Trials of Osiris focusing that had everyone kind of side eyeing because they said, the cost of focusing the adept weapon of the week would only cost one ritual engram, 50,000 glimmer, 50 legendary shards, and a 7-win trials ticket. Not a 7-win flawless ticket, a 7-win ticket. And I can even hear people going, "Hey, yo, this ruins the flawless experience. People are gonna get adept weapons without going flawless." Shut up! Like, just shut up. Because not only have because not only with the most recent patch that nerfed resilience, they're over here like, "Hey, yo, we're rolling back all the slide nerfs. We're rolling back a lot of the airborne effectiveness nerfs." And they're like, "Hey, yo, skill-based matchmaking is coming for trials probably as well." There's skill-based matchmaking. There's chance they're going to get rid of the flawless pool. And the funny part is, if you play the flawless pool, you already get free rolls of the adept weapons anyway. So shut up. I've explained several times that the flawless pool was never a bad idea. The problem is it's too easy to be manipulated. The whole concept of the flawless pool is the more you play, the more rolls of the guns you get, while other people go flawless in the non-flawless pool. But y'all don't like that. Y'all will swear up and down and say, "Oh, we don't like it. It's stupid. It makes it too easy for casuals and yada yada." Cool. Get rid of flawless pool. Give me skill-based matchmaking. Because that way, at least the casuals can fight amongst themselves. And if they don't get the flawless, cool. But if they get flawless in their skill bracket, cool. Move to the next skill bracket. That's how skill-based matchmaking should work. End of story. Move on. And if I get my Astral Horizon by just getting 7 wins, you can kiss my ass. End of story. Do you have any say on that? Because I'm excited.
I honestly don't care because honestly, with me and you and some of the people in our clan, I guarantee that we're gonna go flawless during that week.
Oh, most definitely. You will see me. I might even try to go flawless a couple times, solely or at least go flawless the one time. That way, I can ride the flawless pool into the dirt. Because there will be nothing stopping me from getting my child. That thing is gonna go
I might even
crank.
take that weekend off.
Like that whole like that is gonna be a glorious time right there. Just like, open up the floodgates of that shotgun, boy. I best believe. So, for those who haven't been paying attention, the giant make sure you read the twab. It will be in the show notes. But make sure that you play GMs or Nightfalls this week because this is the last week. The last week you can get Horror's Least. If you want a good rapid fire frame arc pulse rifle, this is the time to get it. If you want something that can compete with Peace of Mind and Battler, this is the time to do it. If you don't do it, it's going to get rotated into a pool where you no longer can get the adept version. If you don't, you're missing out. Next week we get Hung Jury. Hung Jury is staying in the adept pool, but this will be our first chance to get it back with the new origin traits. So get ready for that. It's going to be a great time on Tuesday. I'm going to be living in the freaking birthplace of the Vial for a long time. Probably all week. But just in general, keep that in mind. And this is the last week. We're publishing this on Friday. So you have from all day, all of Friday, all of Saturday, all of Sunday, all of Monday to grind for Horror's Least if you want it. And it's even an easier Nightfall. It's Scarlet Keep. So make sure you grind it. Make sure you get your Horror's Least before it leaves rotation. That you can only get it as its regular version, not as an adept version. All right. Last thing, TWAB came out, and Bungie decided to give everyone a little bit of a Christmas gift because they said, "Hey, yo, so we know it's the end of the season. We know some people are worried about not getting their weapons, the weapons crafted in time. So Tuesday, Bungie has announced that every vendor at the helm that gives you an opportunity that once per week you get a guaranteed deep sight weapon if you have enough materials, they're making that to be once per day. So if you grind enough of the Risen Umbral Energy or the Plundered Umbral Energy or the Seraphic or the haunted, whatever, and you have enough umbral engrams, get all of your guns the craftable as fast as possible before the end of the season. We only have less than a month, or less than a month now, and you grind all of those. That way you have every weapon possible for when Lightfall comes out, because we never know when those guns are going to be eligible to be craftable again. So make sure you do that. They haven't said if or when that'll ever happen. So take advantage of it now.
Hell, right after the show, we're going on the Leviathan
Yeah,
and
boy.
getting enough energy to get our Bump of the Nights crafted.
Because them rocket launchers are definitely needed. So definitely keep that in mind and get that done. Last thing, like that Bungie had in the TWAB, it's gonna be a creepy crawly Halloween. It's gonna be creepy crawly Halloween. So Bungie is bringing back the voting for the Festival of the Lost ornament sets that will be eligible in Eververse. However, this time, instead of voting on which set is the one that's chosen, you get to vote per class. So Titan has 2 to choose from, Hunter has 2 to choose from, Warlock has 2 to choose from. So if we get a situation like with the mechs and the monsters, if Hunters really like the mech, but the Warlocks and the Titans really like the monster, or vice versa, you have that eligibility. And to like sort of go along with that this time, both types are revolving around different types of creepy crawlies. So there's the spiders theme for one of them, which I love the Titan one solely because of like the mandibles in the back of the arms. Like that looks freaking dope. Like it'll probably just be like a back piece, how like the wings on the one armor is. And then there's the beetle set. Now, granted, I like both of the Titan ones so much that I'm like torn, but I will say out of the other 4, the Hunter spider looks better, and the Warlock beetle looks better to me. That's just me.
I want to make my Capri Sting cosplay as a beetle, though.
You want to have all beetles? Okay, I see you.
Yeah, me want to be beetle guy. It's beetle time.
Just straight Beetleborg. It's like just big bad Beetleborg. That'll be fun. So make sure you vote. Bungie will be issuing emails out to you, and like they even said, hey, if you're a Titan main, you'll get the Titan email. If you're a Hunter main, you get the Hunter email. But if you play like all of your classes equally, we're just gonna give you all the links, and then you can choose what you want to do. So that'll, and now granted, you can't just like vote a bunch of times for Titan, vote 3 times for Hunter, or vice versa. You will have 1 vote per account, like per character per account. So like 1 vote for each class. So that's how that's going to work in the next, like the few weeks leading into Lightfall and whatnot. So check out the images. We even retweeted it in the TWAB article. The TWAB will be in the description. So make sure you look at that. And I think I'm gonna leave the show off with, hey, yo, we just need to like take a breath, see what Bungie has going on, and be excited for Lightfall, but be cautiously optimistic. Be like, hey, there's concerns, we're worried, but there's new content coming, so let's get hyped. Like, be wary.
Like Day 1 Val, they could have the exact same problem.
Yeah, Day 1 Val was a little bit of a mess. So definitely keep that in mind. Alchemy, as your first show, first time of the show, what is your closing statement for the episode?
Well, I'm just excited for Lightfall. I'm excited for everything that's happening next season, and it is good to be on here.
All right, sweet. You know, I'm happy to have you. I'm excited for some new stuff going on. The show is definitely going to keep moving. We are currently working on some things to make it so that way the clan is an extension of the podcast. So like if you are a fan of the podcast and want to join the clan, there will be an easier process to work on that soon. And in general, just like make sure you follow us. If you enjoy this show and want to keep participating in what's going on, make sure you are tuning in each week. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us. Join the Discord. Not follow us on Discord, but join the Discord and just be down for more stuff. And we will be back next week talk about whatever the heck else happens in this universe. We will catch you folks starside. Peace out.
Bye.